Hey, how's it going today? It's Frankie and I'm back with another movie review. And it's a comedy movie, and the reason why I decided to watch a comedy movie today is because I wanted to start off with the movie tradition, and that is Funny Fridays. So I know I did say I was probably going to do it in like the first consecutive week, but I might just do it in where I'm probably going to just have the odd days where I do it. So for example, if I'm doing like a Terror Tuesday, I might not end up doing a Wild Wednesday, or I might not end up doing a Funny Friday. So that sort of thing. So it won't be a fixed schedule of doing it each week. It'll just be like days where I'll be able to do it, or days where I won't be able to do it, if that makes any sort of sense. And I'm also thinking about fitting Sci-Fi Sundays into it as well, if that also makes any sort of sense too. So yeah, but yeah, that's why I just wanted to start off with the video right there, because I figured I was in the mood to watch a movie, so why not just start off doing this whole tradition right now, I guess. Well, why not? And yeah, and I got to say, what a quality movie I have seen. The movie is called Crackheads. Wow. For a long last, I actually found a good comedy movie after a while. I can't remember the last good comedy movie I've seen. But yeah, when I saw this and read about it, I was just like, I have to watch it. It's on my street. It's an hour and 30 minutes long. I know the duration doesn't matter, but it's got to let all of you know that how long the movie is. And yeah, I'm probably not going to talk about this in chronological order. I'm probably just going to pick bits and pieces out into this movie, because it does feel long when you watch it. Excuse me. There's a lot in this movie to go by. So yeah, so where do I start? The start of the movie is not much to report. It's just, them playing football and Raj talking to his wife. I think it's one of the girlfriends called Ashika. That's one of the friends, by the way. The other friends is Jimmy, Doc, and the priest. And so they all basically, take meth and to get high, and it turns into a roller coaster. And there could have been more funny scenes in this movie. I quite like this movie. Not the best I've ever seen, but some of these scenes are absolutely hilarious. Like, you have the Doc that talks to this Ethan guy, and Ethan's a bit cocky and arrogant, and he tricks him into something. He then has a patient that comes, it's like a guy in his 50s that talks about jacking off, and then he tells a story of how he thinks about certain things in the jungle. You're gonna have to watch the scene to know what I'm talking about. It is a funny scene. And another scene where you see Raj just get the part, and he starts dancing. And and you see another scene where the priest is getting high, and he's just all snorting, just like he's in a church, and he's just saying, "Oh Lord, we all have sins here," and he's all high and wired up, and everybody just looking at him like, "Whoa, this is a passionate priest." And you see, I forgot what the other priest's name is, the one that I think could be his boss. I don't know. I think he kind of suspects something. There's also another scene where he kind of talks aggressively to somebody when they're doing confessions, and they're just like, he just wants to know, have you got any more bags? We need more bags. And gradually in the movie, there is a bit of seriousness into it. You do see Raj have an issue with his I think his wife, I would say. And then at the end part where they all just be a bit depressed because they've lost everything. And another funny scene into this too is when they're all in the car, and this guy Bogan that comes out. Basically the police drives up to them, and they're like, "We're down the dock at 3 AM. And basically the doc has to, I'm just going to call him the doctor. The doctor has to tell his friends in the van or whatever car, right, that he wants them to act a little bit like that, basically, so that the police can get off their backs. And they be like, I just have to take these mentally challenged people into to get them used to society, because there's they only did it because Bogan came out with the boxes, and they had to they were planning to do some sort of meth cooking in the church, and they had to get the police off their backs somehow. And they all just started like this. So the police don't suspect a thing. And that guy it was clever. That's clever script writing, because perfect scene, considering that the character that told him to do it is a doctor. So I find that genius. The script writing is just beautiful for a movie like this. It got a bit chaotic. There's a fight scene involved as well. There was a bit of like personal type issues that were talking about amongst each other. You know, they were all desperate for something at the end, and they all blamed each other. Whereas I look at that and I blame Jimmy for actually getting them involved in the drugs to begin with, because he's the one that actually persuaded them, and they all blamed each other. When the real person to blame here is Jimmy, because he's the one that was been doing them. But even the priest had history of doing them as well, because he was in prison. He was thrown in jail as well for something like that. And the only reason why they all found out about Brogan, I think that's the name, was because, you know, of this kid that has a mum that came to church talking to a priest about how she found drugs in her son's bag or something like that, or just in her son's pockets. And then you see Raj and and the priest just go and talk to the son, and when the mum's not in the room, they start roughing him up and start making threats to him. I found that was actually kind of cool. I like that scene. I mean, could have made it a bit more funnier somehow, but I can't like it. I never seen where Raj had to actually sneak into this place. Where that's how he got the police uniform. I find that a bit clever. I thought he was gonna get caught. And another scene where you know, Raj is assaulting the AJ dude, and because AJ likes to steal his parts, but then Raj was high anyway. And before all that, Raj was actually in like doing the audition for it, and you just see him sort of like acting all crazy and aggressive. And Mr. Gustav or something like that says, I don't know if it was him, but him or somebody else said, "Oh, you know, that's a good actor out there, but a very good cop." That just made me laugh. I actually like this movie. You know, just get a sense of all the personalities from the characters, and they all have different kind of jobs. They do something different. I don't know what Jimmy's job is. I think it's when he's working behind the cars. I think, yeah, working with cars in the garage, because his brother came with his friend and they took a stolen car in. That was at the start. I'm not going to talk about that. And you see that Jimmy just also want to get connected to this hooker as well. And this hooker comes in and he finds out this hooker is a man. We never suspected it. You also see a scene of him in the car with another hooker, and he wants to talk about like getting high and stuff like that, because they really are desperate for drugs and they find any means necessary to get them. Oh my god, funny right there. And he starts coming out all crazy after a shower, and he says, "Is something happened?" I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to mention that actually. Yeah, I actually liked the movie. At the start of the movie, I was just like, you know what? I think this could be an okay movie. I didn't know what to expect, but when I saw the characters and the way that they were acting, the way they were talking, I was hooked on it instantly. There was like a connection with those characters in terms of like the acting was actually good for a movie like this. You know, people might think from this movie, oh, the characters are a bit silly, blah blah. I think the opposite. I thought the characters are good for a movie like this, and this may not be for everyone's cup of tea, but it certainly was for mine. Another scene with when I think was it that doctor dude, whilst he's still high and they're playing football, and he just stands on the ground and he just and he just imagines the flower talking to him, and the flower sort of turns demonic. Not to mention the priest had a scene where there was like the devil talking to him or whatever that is. And then the doctor just runs away. That I find it got a bit chaotic. I like the movie. Not the best I've ever seen, but that's what I am talking about. Good script writing, good acting, good scenes. I just love when comedies like that have chaotic scenes and moments. It's very funny. I've seen comedies where they have silly, crazy scenes, and it's just stupid. This is a definition of good humor. Well, chaotic humor scenes. That's what I'm going to call it, chaotic humor, because that's what it is, and that's how it should be. And yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I kind of like the movie. I don't think acting could have been any more better than that. You know, especially when they, right there when the church gets burnt down as well, it got a bit serious. And yeah, I feel like the priest was kind of lucky there that he didn't get in trouble for that. I don't know how. I don't know why his boss didn't turn him in. But yeah, you just gotta watch the movie for yourself. I don't want to mention everything in it because it is quite a long movie with a lot in it. It's only an hour and 30. I remember movies that are less than this. So it's kind of a bonus. It's a good way to start off Funny Fridays, eh? With something like this, for example. So I'm glad I watched this movie. There was another comedy movie I'm thinking about watching for next Friday, but I'm saving it. Right? I think there's one or two options that I've seen, and it's slightly longer, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to talk about that one. But yeah, I'm sorry if I'm jumbled up with my words. It's just that I have to describe a lot in this movie because this movie is just crazy. So yeah, rating for this, I like it. I think it's a genuinely good movie. And again, for comedy like that, I'm really quite surprised they didn't add in more crazy, funny scenes to it. I'm really quite surprised by that. They could have had more, you know. If they would have had a bit more humour scenes into it and a bit more clever wittiness, it probably would have been higher than the rating I'm going to give it. But it had potential to be higher than the rating I'm giving it anyway. If that makes any sense. But yeah, rating for this, it's a solid 8. I would have probably went with a 7, but then I thought it's more than decent. I like the movie. I'm being generous with this one. Thank you for, who was it that made the movie? I think somebody, I've got to check the names again because one of them was called Tom and the other was called Andy, whoever it was. I don't know how to pronounce the surnames. I'll check it again. But good comedy. Brilliant acting involved in it. I kind of like it. You know, overall how the storyline went. Well, with a movie like this, you don't need much of a storyline, do you? You just need the obvious, like just the characters taking drugs and having a crazy weekend out of it. But yeah, well, crazy, weeks you could say. But yeah, I kind of like it. Yeah, I highly recommend watching a movie like this. And if I'm not making any sense, I do apologize. I'm trying my best to explain these movies. And I do need to learn to start summarizing it a bit better instead of explaining the whole movie. I think that makes it kind of easier. I've done it before. I think I should stick with summarizing it. Makes it easier for me. But yeah, what they could have had more of, bit more humor scenes. I think that's all it needed. Don't really think there's any other improvements that they needed in this. But yeah, 8 out of 10 it is. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like, comment, share, subscribe and hit the notification below. I'll see you in the next video.